I'm Hayley. I run and coordinate the Hassle Book Club, where we read and share stories about powerful women. And yes, that does include trans women. Today I want to share some top picks of non-fiction books with you. These will help you see the world a little differently. They might challenge your perception on things based on your own lived experiences. And like all reading, they will help you to expand your knowledge and expand your mind, which is always a good thing. First up, Everyday Sexism. Laura Bates has actually written 8 books. She does a lot of work tackling gender inequality in lots of different spaces. Everyday Sexism stemmed from her Everyday Sexism project back in 2012, where she basically set up a website for people to submit their experiences of everyday sexism. She received over 200,000 testimonials into that website about experiences people were having. Those experiences were collated into this book. Now, this is an interesting book for me because this is probably the first book that I had to keep putting down and coming back to, purely because the extent of the analysis and the facts and figures that you read are quite rage-inducing. As an example, when we talk about catcalling, which is one of the themes explored in this book, it occurs far more with young girls who are in school uniforms than it does with adult women. And if that doesn't tell you something about our society that should make you angry, I don't know what will. Another book I'd recommend by Laura Bates is Men Who Hate Women. If you've watched Adolescence on Netflix and enjoyed it, if enjoyed is the right word, you really should read this book as well. In this one, Laura talks about the manosphere, the incel forums that she infiltrated where men actively talk about how they hate and want to harm women, but she also talks about other elements of misogyny throughout society that are more subtle, less direct, and in some ways harder to spot and challenge because of that. She talks about ways that we can actively challenge that misogyny that permeates our culture, and she's also talked to reformed characters from those incel groups, so definitely one that you should read and check out. Laura's latest book, The New Age of Sexism, focuses on AI and emerging technologies. I haven't actually read this one yet, as I only bought it a couple of weeks ago, but it basically leaves off where her other books ended, focusing on how AI and emerging technologies exacerbate the problem of misogyny and sexism, and what more we might be able to do right now before the problem gets out of hand. Next up is Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. So this is actually a short essay if you want something short and snappy to read. Now, Rebecca Solnit has written many books and essays on feminist topics. In her essay, Men Explain Things to Me, she does focus on mansplaining and the silencing of women's voices, which often happens inadvertently. She opens her essay with an anecdote which is in some ways quite amusing. She was at a party with a friend and a man started talking to her about a book that he had enjoyed. Despite her friend trying to interrupt him several times to tell him, it turned out he was actually mansplaining her own book to her. So I'm sure a lot of women can relate to that kind of scenario. In Defense of Witches by Mona Shalay was actually our April book club pick. Shalay is a feminist author, journalist and activist, and in her book she focuses on the archetype of the witch, but also the lasting impact of the witch trials even into modern day society. When she looks at the emblem of the witch and the social commentary alongside the historical facts and figures, she focuses on 3 main aspects of the witch. So that includes the independent woman, the woman who is child-free by choice, and the woman who ages and allows herself to age unapologetically. You'll be unsurprised to know that there is a reason why the image of the hag is always shown as something to be feared and reviled across all sorts of media, TV, literature. Last but not least, The Descent of Man by Grayson Perry. Grayson Perry is an artist. They identify as non-binary and they challenge all sorts of perceptions, both through their artworks but also through their commentary on gender. In the book The Descent of Man, Perry talks about masculinity and toxic masculinity and how gender essentially is what we're conditioned to believe that it is. When young boys are growing up, they're basically taught that anything feminine should be shunned. They're taught not to express feelings or vulnerabilities, and those things are believed to be inherently feminine in the society that we live in. But this book focuses on challenging those perceptions and actually choosing to live a different and better way. If you've already read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't read them, go away and read them, come back and tell us what you think.